Hello children, I hope you are feeling happy and strong. Welcome to this special English hour where we will learn a lot of new things and have a lot of fun. Are you ready? Let's get started. Let's start our day with a fun tongue twister. If you remember correctly, we have been saying this tongue twister in our previous sessions. And I know that we have been getting good at it. So for today, I have added a few new words to this tongue twister. I think this will make it more interesting. So let's give it a try. So the tongue twister is Betty bought some butter, but her butter went bitter. So she bought some better butter to make her bitter butter better. Was it confusing? I will repeat it once again. Betty bought some butter, but her butter went bitter. So she bought some better butter to make her bitter butter better. Why don't you give it a try now? Now, let's hear some interesting facts about ravens. Did you know that ravens are very good at mimicking? Ravens who live among the humans are good at mimicking human sounds and sounds associated with humans. They are so good at mimicking that they can even leave behind parrots. Our next bird is owl. Owls are nocturnal animals. Did you know that owls swallow their prey whole, right from a mice to an insect? For bigger animals, they bite them into small pieces. Our next bird is duck. Did you know that when the ducks nap together, all of them don't sleep at the same time? At least one of them stays awake so that they can protect themselves from predators. Our next bird is pigeon. Pigeons are believed to be the first domesticated bird. They were used to send messages, even messages that were confidential in nature. All birds have different qualities. They have different colors, they have different sounds, and they have different ways of building their nests. Can you tell me what is the national bird of India? Yes, it is peacock. Peacock is the national bird of our country. Peacocks are colorful and very graceful in nature. Have you ever seen a peacock dance? A peacock always dances when it rains. Children, have you seen a crane? A crane is a bird that is white in color and it flies up in the sky. Today we will read a story about a peacock and a crane. Before we read the story, let's learn some new words. You will see these words in the story. So I request you to listen to me carefully. conceited, 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 scoffed, 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 boasted, 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 feathers, 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 immediately, immediately, immediately. I hope you remember these words when we read the story. Now we will read the story. The name of the story is The Peacock and the Crane. Please open page number 18 of your Balbharati textbook. I will be reading this story. I request you to point at the words as I read them. And if you don't have a textbook, listen to me carefully. The Peacock and the Crane. There was once a very conceited peacock who had a gorgeous tail like no other bird. So, when he met a crane, one day the peacock scoffed at the crane's colorless and dull feathers and immediately spread his own colorful tail for the crane to see and admire. "Look at my feathers," he boasted. "How they shine in all the colors of the rainbow, while yours are so pale. I am dressed like a king." "That's true," the crane answered, "but I can fly high above among the clouds and the stars, and I can see all the beauty of the earth in all its glory, while you live down here just like any other cock. Fine feathers don't make fine birds." There was once a very conceited peacock who had a gorgeous tail like no other bird. So, when he met a crane one day, the peacock scoffed at crane's colorless and dull feathers and immediately spread his own colorful tail for the crane to see and admire. "Look at my feathers," he boasted. "How they shine in all the colors of the rainbow, while yours are so pale. I am dressed like a king." Here, the writer describes how a peacock had a colorful and gorgeous tail. No other bird had such a colorful tail. One day, the crane meets the peacock. The peacock takes one look at the crane's feathers and says that his feathers are colorless and pale. Children, do you know what the word pale means? Pale means something that does not have color. "That's true," the crane answered, "but I can fly high above among the clouds and the stars, and I can see all the beauty of the earth in all its glory, while you live down here just like any other cock. Fine feathers don't make fine birds." When Peacock made fun of the crane also had a witty reply. The crane said that it's true that my feathers are pale, but I can fly high above, among the clouds and the stars, and he could see everything beneath him. And Peacock could not do this. Crane said that fine feathers don't make fine birds. What do you think the crane meant when he said fine feathers don't make fine birds? What the crane is trying to say here is that we should not judge a book by its cover, or we should not judge anyone by their appearance. It is their quality that matters, which is why the crane says that fine feathers don't make fine birds. Here, the peacock must be looking very gracious and very beautiful, but it is the crane who can fly, which is why we should never focus on the way we look. We should focus on the qualities. I hope that you liked this story, and I hope that you learned something from this story. Now, let's do an activity. This activity is about nouns and adjectives. I hope that you remember what nouns and adjectives are. If you don't, I will refresh your memory. Nouns are called naming words. Example, names, places, animals and things. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. For example, Rahul runs fast. Here, the noun is Rahul and fast is the adjective because fast describes Rahul. Sounds easy? Let's try to find out 5 nouns and 5 adjectives from this story. The adjectives from this story are conceited, gorgeous, colorful, dull and pale. The nouns from this story are peacock, crane, bird, rainbow and stars. I hope you got all the answers correct. Let's do another activity. This activity is related to the lesson that we read today. For this activity, you will see 2 questions on your screen. Each question will have a few options. What you need to do is select the correct option that goes with your question. Sounds easy? Let's give it a try. The first sentence is, the peacock had a gorgeous tail like no other bird. The options are, no other bird had a tail. The peacock's tail was more beautiful than any other bird's. All the birds had gorgeous tail. Now you have to select the correct option and write it in your notebook. The second statement is fine feathers don't make fine birds. The options for this statement are you cannot use feathers to make birds. You can judge something by its outward beauty. Something that looks beautiful may not really be useful. You have to select the correct answers. Children, I hope you were able to answer these questions. Let's have a look at the answers. The first statement said, the peacock had a gorgeous tail like no other bird. The correct meaning of this sentence is option number B. That is, the peacock's tail was more beautiful than any other bird. The second statement was, fine feathers don't make fine birds. The correct meaning of this statement is option number C, which is something that looks beautiful may not really be useful. I hope you got these answers correct. I hope you enjoyed today's session and you learned something new. Now it's time for you to sit back and relax while I tell you a wonderful story. Has it ever happened to you where you woke up from your dream and you thought that this dream was strange? It happened with me recently. I dreamt that I went to see an IPL match. As you all know that we cannot go out in the stadium to watch a match because of the COVID situation. But I dreamt that I was able to go to a stadium and see a match. And guess what? I got to meet Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I am a huge fan of Dhoni. And in my dream, I also saw that he gave me an autograph. But within a few moments, my mother woke me up and I realized that it was just a dream. Today, we will learn a story about a girl who also has a strange dream. Let's find out what happens next in the story. The name of the story is Gul in Space and it's written by Richa Jha. It was Gul's birthday and she wanted to do something special. What could be better than being able to visit the moon and the stars? The next morning, when Gul woke up, she got a surprise. She saw that there was a rocket in her backyard. Gul was very happy. Now, Gul wanted to be an astronaut and she named herself Astronaut Madam Gul. Gul was very excited to see the rocket. She picked up her cat and went inside the rocket. And within a few seconds, the rocket started moving. Gul did not understand what was happening. Her head was spinning and her cat was very scared. But within a few minutes, they were in the outer space. After 6 hours, Gul and her cat finally reached a space station. While she was stepping out of her rocket, she felt something different. She could not feel the land beneath her. She was floating in the air. She was moving from up, down, swaying to the left, swaying to the right, turning and twisting and drifting. Gul had packed lots of food with her. She had packets of chips, juices, samosas, jalebis and a lot of other stuff. But can you guess what happened? When Gul stepped out of the rocket, her food also started floating in the air and now she could not eat it. So she decided to stick to the space food. Gul was going to stay in the space for a very long time. So, she wanted to wash her hair and take a bath. Can you guess how she did that? She took a bath by wetting her towel and wiping her face. She washed her hair by applying shampoo in her hair and wiping it down with a wet towel. Now, Gul wanted to see the stars. So, she wore her space suit and went out for a walk. And can you guess what she saw there? She saw millions of stars and they were all shining very brightly. Gul thought that the stars were wishing her happy birthday. Now, Gul was tired and she wanted to sleep. So, she goes back to her room and finds her bed. Her bed was strapped to a rod. Can you guess why? Of course, it was strapped to a rod because the bed would also float. Now, next day, Gul calls her mother from one of the laptops in the space. And guess what? The laptops are also strapped to a place. She tells her mother about the different things that she saw in the space. She tells her about the stars, she tells her about the moon, she tells her about how everything just floats in space. This is how Gul celebrated her birthday. Gul lived in space for 2 months and she has a message for us all. Can you guess what the message is? Gul says that we should always dream big and we should work hard for our dream to come true. I hope you liked this story. Now, for homework, I would request you to share the message that you learned from the story of the peacock and the crane. Now, I would like to end this session with an interesting fact about Galileo. Galileo was a scientist who worked very hard, and he worked to create awareness about the solar system. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and I will see you in our next session. Until then, take care and stay safe. Bye.